We're continuing through our devotions on the book of Concord. We're going to be in it a while. We've made it through that much, and there's still that much to go. I'll let you pause, and you can measure it on your screen to see how long that means we have. Don't do that. That's a silly way to do it. Anyway, we're stepping into a part of the book of Concord called the Apology to the Augsburg Confession. And at its core, what this is, there was a guy named Philip Melanchthon, and he wrote this. He wrote this part. This essentially was a defense for what we just went through, and that was the Augsburg Confession. So we went through all these articles of kind of like, this is what we believe, and this is... So this takes that, and it defends it, and it supports it, right? So especially in contested articles that not everyone agreed on. So we're going to do two things as we walk through the Apology to the Augsburg Confession. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about our place in larger Christianity and some of these places that we can kind of band together, and some of these places where there's still some things that we need to figure out, right? Because it is a sin that Christianity is not united. Okay, that's point blank, that's what it is. The fact that we have divisions in Christianity, including but not limited to the denominational divisions we see, those are sinful. So we strive to overcome them. But here we're going to have an opportunity to talk about some of the places where we have to have those discussions and come to a consensus, hopefully, prayerfully. But the first article, they say, our opponents, and he's talking primarily about the Catholic Church here. To be clear, the Catholic Church of this writing, they have shifted in some areas. And I'm not an expert on Catholic theology. Anyway, so it says, our opponents approve of the first article of our confession. And Article 1 is God, concerning God. And this is good. And all that this article says is that we believe and teach that there's one divine essence, undivided, but there are three distinct and coeternal persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And we constantly affirm that those who believe otherwise stand outside the Church of Christ. Okay? So this is something, as we're interacting with other faiths and other denominations, and this is really at the core of a lot of what we believe. We believe that there's one God and that he has three persons, and that is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And there are faiths that don't confess that, right? And we say, right, wait, if you disagree on this one, it's not heterodoxy, it is heresy. Okay, so there's this spectrum when it comes to we're talking about faith. First, there's orthodoxy. That just means you're right, you're in the right place. And then there's heterodoxy, where there's a little bit of difference here, and you're wrong on your difference, but it's still kind of in this what we would say acceptable parameters, maybe. And the way I describe it is, if you're heterodox, you have room to improve, but you're not going to hell. Okay? Your theology needs to get better, but it's not bad enough that you're going to hell. Heresy is you are crossing that line and you are no longer Christian. Heresy, you no longer have faith in a way that we would say this faith is saving. Okay, so this if you don't agree with this part of our confession, we would say that's heresy. We believe in Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We believe in the triune God. And that's an important distinction for us to make as we interact with people of other faith, and kind of how we act toward them. Because if someone's a member of another church, say a big one in Eastvale that's right down the street from us is Vantage Point. I have full confidence that the gospel is being preached at Vantage Point. I have never been, but as far as I know, they're preaching the gospel there. So when I meet someone who they're a member at Vantage Point, I'm not going to have this priority of like, I need to bring them in to the church. If I meet someone who is at a place of faith, a place of worship, and they don't confess the triune God. They don't believe, for example, that Jesus is the Son of God. I'm going to treat them much more as I would treat an unbeliever, because that's kind of the level of priority they're at. So that's a little bit of kind of how it impacts our practice today. So if you have questions, comments, as always, put them in the comment section below. And brothers and sisters, go in peace, serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.